Oh, hold on, let me see. Perfect. So how's everybody feeling? You feel like you're getting value out of this series? You excited to be a part of this thing? Um, Talk to me in the chat. How's it going? So today we'll spend a couple minutes. I want to spend a couple minutes just talking to you just in general, if you wouldn't mind, if you permit me permission to do that. And then I want to move out of the way because we got some cool people that's coming on and speaking with you. You know, Don Purnell is one of those folks that when you're building any sort of team or you guys are building your organizations, like you really want people like, I call her DP, to come into your organizations. They bring so much value. A couple of weeks ago, we had a Super Saturday here at my house. I don't know if any of you guys were at it, but I asked her to speak on a topic surrounding mindset. So I asked her to come back and do that again because we had rave reviews from her time. And then, you know, I wanted to bring people on to this call that are actually doing the do. So Juanita Nicholson, who's in the house, you see her on your screen, is literally crushing it this month with sponsoring coaches. And so I didn't want to try to, you know, explain to you guys how to do it. I said, well, Juanita's doing it. Why don't she just come on and explain what it is she's doing so we can all be blessed and get value from that. So hopefully you guys love that. And then I figured I'd spend the last few minutes that we have with each other just really helping someone out and doing sort of like a live mentorship. I think we did that week one, and you guys seem to get a tremendous amount of value from it. So I asked my friend Jody to come on and just to open up her business to us and just allow me to coach her through how to build certain skill sets, mindsets, so that she can get into action. And she was like, I'm nervous, but for the betterment of the team, I will do it. So she's going to be pretty open, pretty raw. We're going to be going through her numbers. And so hopefully, oh, she's on already. All right, Jody, I'll make you a co-host. She was getting back, I think, from her son's baseball game. So today should be pretty good. Our attendance looks a little bit light. So if you guys know people that should be on this thing, then go on and invite them. But let's jump into it. Oh, and I'm going to spin a section about overcoming objections. And so one of the things that I'm really, how can I say this? I feel so good about our group. Maybe I'll start out by saying it that way, because I think what I have realized is that sometimes it's better to have less people, but those people, you know, they really want to be there. Maybe that's the best way I can say it. Sometimes you have a lot of people, but you don't really have folks that are there in general, or there for the right reasons, or that really are on the same mission as you. Have you guys ever seen that? Maybe in the different jobs that you've been on, or maybe you've just been around a big group of friends and you're like, oh, there's all these people, but I don't know if there's a lot of substance in that. Why I love this group, and I'm really eager to see what we do in the future, is because I feel like this is the group that really wants to be here. I don't know if you guys have felt that too. Like, I feel like a lot of people in this group have maybe experienced some difficulties, same difficulties a lot of other people have experienced, but you're still showing up. And when I see people like that, I'm like, yes, let's go. Okay, it's only 45 people, but I would rather have those 45 than like 345, because these 45 are ready to stir some things up and light up some cities. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, and I'm so excited about that. So before I turn it over to DP, I wanted to reach you guys a couple things. You know, I have every single day, you guys have seen me put a post up in our group, right? Which is our accountability post every single morning. Have you guys been interacting on those posts? You've seen that. So when it's time for me to do that, I actually get up about at least an hour, usually 2 hours before that. And I'm always thinking about, what do we need to break through? And that's why I put a post up earlier today. And I said, before you come on this call today, try to figure out what do you need to break through. We all have to have breakthroughs, even me at my level. Let me say it like this. Ezra, my son, asked me, he says, aren't you at the top of the business? And I was like, I mean, yeah, but not really. What does that mean? Yeah, but not really. And so he's sitting right here. And I go, yeah, but not really. And he goes, well, what does that mean? And I said, well, like he knows the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if you guys know basketball at all. How many of you guys know Steph Curry? Know Steph Curry? Put a 1 in the chat. You've ever heard of him, right? He's probably the greatest shooter that God has ever created. And so he's really, really, really good. But on a basketball team, like an NBA team, there's somewhere between like 12 to 14 players, right? But they're all in the NBA. So what I explained to Ezra is like, I was like, I'm in the NBA, but I'm like the 14th player on the bench. And there's a big difference between the 14th player on the bench and Steph Curry. They're all at the top, but there's different levels to every single level. And so I got to have breakthroughs too, even where I'm at. I am so far away from whatever the top is, it's not even funny. There's a huge difference between the 14th rotational player and an all NBA player. Does that make sense a little bit? So that's how I explained it to Ezra. And he was like, oh, you're it. And I was like, yeah, but not really. So every single one of us needs a what? A breakthrough. Like we got to figure out what is that next area in my business that I got to figure out how to get to. And so one of the things I've been doing as I've been thinking about you guys every single morning is I've gone back and started reading this book. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. I don't know if you guys have ever read it, by a guy named Og Mandino. And Og has all of these beautiful sayings. I mean, this dude can write. Like he's like a literary genius. And so 2 of those I want to share with you before we turn it over to Don Purnell, because I really feel like this is where we're at in this season. And by the way, I feel so dang good about this season. I already starting to see change, by the way. I'm going on your social medias and I'm seeing change. I'm looking at our client sites and I'm seeing more people that are at it. I'm looking at the new coaches that are been on. Are we where we want to be? No, not even close. But as I said the other day, we got to get really, 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 really focused on the process, on becoming great. How many of you guys want to be really, 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 really good in this industry and in your coaching business? Put a 1. How many of you guys you're like, man, I want to be really freaking good at this thing. Like, I don't even know why I want to be good at this thing, but I just want to be really, 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 really good at this thing. Any of you guys like that? Because I'm like that. I remember being like that once I really made the decision to not treat this like poo-poo, as like this little thing. Because most of us come into this and we're like, this little thing. Hopefully nobody on this line is still like that, to where it's just like this little, like this, my little friend that I don't really care about. I'll play with him when all my boys are like busy. Maybe I'll call this dude up and see if he want to go shoot hoops or something. Hopefully none of us are like that at this point in our business, to where this is the little friend you don't really want to kick it with. But if ain't nothing else going on, you'll call him up and see if you want to hang out. Hopefully this is at this level, this is not that. But once I made that decision, I want to be really, really, really good at it. And so to be really, really, really good, I want you to know where you're going. I am going to be FIBC. I knew that, right? Like that's going into the future, leading from the future. But now that we have decided what we're going to do, we move off of that and we get really focused in what? Acting in the now. That is called the process. There is a process that we have to go through in order to become great at this thing. And what happens is we get so focused on what we set in stone in the future, FIBC, global, FIBL, whatever, that we move off of the process. We're like, oh, I didn't hit FIBC yesterday. I'm not going to do the work today. No, wrong way to go about it. You have to get really, 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 really good and fall in love with taking those swings. You got to get really good at doing these little things. And so that's what I would rather us focus on than focus on, oh, I'm going to be FIBL, in the next couple, or FIBC in the next couple months. That is going to happen from falling in love with becoming great, falling in love with becoming the best person on earth that could do a health assessment, falling in love with follow-up, falling in love with overcoming objections, fall in love with starting the next conversation, fall in love with all the little things that it takes to be great in this business. So if we have enough time at the end, I'll read you some of the readings from Og Mandino, but my time is up. And so I'm gonna pass it on over to our girl, Don Purnell. DP, talk to us this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm like, Jamil, you about to read now? We already 12 minutes in. Okay, guys, I'm going to start because Jamil is not playing with my time. Hold on. Let me set my timer real quick. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. All right. Oh, it would help if I started on the top. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys about mindset today. And I want to ask first and foremost, do I have your permission to get real? Like for real, for real. Because Jamil knows when he has me on, I'm going to tell it like it is. I can't help but be honest. Okay, so I'm assuming because I can only see 4 of you at a time that you said yes. So we're going to keep it moving. So one of the things that I absolutely love about Optavia are the universal principles that we learn about through this process. They apply to weight loss, entrepreneurship, finances, fitness, education, basically any goal, any desire that you have are the principles that we espouse within this program are definitely universal. Oh, okay. And so all of us have some desires in our heart, right? And there are layers to it. There's some things that we know we are called to be. For some of you right now, it's just FIBC, right? But it's that feeling deep down, a passion that you have, that thing you do if money and time weren't an issue, what you dream about. And so even those desires that are placed on our heart, they are placed on our hearts for a reason. And the things that I am telling you guys, okay, I'm gonna just give a little backstory real quick. I started March Madness and I'd been part of 75 Hard. I was doing that challenge with a ton of people, and I was reading and I was listening to all of the messages that Jamil was playing before 75 Hard, before March Madness. And I had this like Minority Report moment, or like this Neo moment, where I felt like all of the messages, oh, you guys can't see? Oh no. Can you guys see my slides? What? And they're amazing. Okay, sorry. Okay.
It's like that.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I hope that doesn't count toward my time. Anyways, but I had this like Minority Report moment where all these like ideas and like readings and information from folks like Jim Rohn and Les Brown and Brene Brown and Mel Robbins and all this stuff was coming together, and it all clicked for me. And so what you are getting is a synthesis of what I have gotten. So anyway, you have these desires in your heart, and they are placed on your heart for a reason. It's because you are meant to have them. You're meant to have them, right? And so the only thing that you have to do, once you really laser in on what it is that you want, is decide that you are going to pursue that thing. that you are going to go after it, that you are going to do it, right? And inherent in that decision is the fact that you are in control, right? You're not the victim. The drama triangle we learned about in element 4, but you're the victor, right? That empowerment triangle that we also learned about in element 4. Lord have mercy. See, we still gonna be great. Once you decide, and this is what I realized, once you decide to pursue that thing, God's like, okay, you can have it. No problem. Let's do it. Let's get it, right? But at that moment, battle lines are drawn. War is waged. You are stepping into an arena. And I'm gonna just do a side note that I didn't do for folks back on Super Saturday. So for some of y'all, this ain't your round. And what I'm saying right now is not gonna apply. You may not understand it, but for some of you guys who are going through right now, this is gonna hit home. So for those of you whose round this ain't applying to right now, just put these little pearls in your pocket and you can have them for later when it really hits, okay? All right. So let me tell you about my story and where this hit. So the last couple months, right, leading into March Madness, I was going through. It was a lot of stuff happening. As you guys can see, I got into a really bad car accident. I had this like major neck brace on. I was bruised. Enoch and I, we were down to one car. We were fussing. You see my little irritated face. We were slipping in our business. Don't mind Sabrina's face because that was real. But there was a lot of things happening. And I thought like, oh man, I'm in this battle. But then when that epiphany moment happened and I did that minority report situation, I realized, yo, that started way back in July. You started battling in July, even though you didn't really feel it until now. It started way back in July. What happened in July? I went to convention. I was so inspired. Look at me. Look how excited I look. We were looking cute at the event, at the evening event. And I decided, so inspired in this little picture right here, that I was going to do a live about choosing my heart. I had decided that I was going to walk that stage. I had my song picked out. I knew what I was going to say to people. And I decided at that moment, I was going to choose my heart. I was going to choose the heart of making phone calls, of really excelling my business, over choosing the heart of having to be subservient to a supervisor or a manager, having to choose when somebody tells me to wake up, and when I could take vacation, and what my bonuses were going to look like, and all of that stuff. I decided. And that's when the battle lines were drawn. That's when they were drawn. All right. All right. So what's the purpose of the battle? My initial thought was, if I'm battling, that means I'm not supposed to have this, right? In reality, what I have learned is that it is happening for me, not to me, right? And they're happening for two reasons. One is to determine how bad do I really want this? Because I could decide to get out of the ring, right? I could decide to not battle. But if I decide to step out, no desires of my heart, like I could just wave that right on goodbye, right? The second reason is to build my skills. I cannot keep what I haven't earned, even if I got to FIBC right now, even if I got to global, even if I got to IPD right now, I can't keep it. I don't have the skills to keep it. So these trials are designed to help fortify me with the skills that I need to keep it, because I wasn't meant to taste the desires of my heart. I was meant to have the desires of my heart. I was meant to wrap myself in them and for me to live in them, right? So I got to have those skills built up. But what I also couldn't figure out was, okay, well, so why do I keep hurting so bad? Like, I'm in this battle and like, it's cool. Okay, I gotta build my skills up. Okay, but like, this hurts. I got a little knife wound over here. My shin's bruised up. I got a little knock in my head. Like, what's going on? Why am I experiencing these types of things? It's because I had no armor. I didn't have any armor. I wasn't equipped with the things that I needed to do to survive in the battle. Anybody that is going to fight has to have some arsenal. If you're gonna pose any type of threat, right? So what does that arsenal really look like? Health. Okay. See this? This isn't it, you guys. There's no timeouts in the battle. Like there's no pause. Hold on, give me a second. Let me recoup. We got to be together in terms of our health, making sure we're getting our water in, we're getting our sleep, we got a nutritious diet, we're on fat burn. You know, when you in fat burn, your business is burning up. We got to be together. Absolutely. It means personal development. One of the beauties of my participation in that challenge was that I was actually reading physical books on top of the audio books that I was reading. So these are just some of the things that I read over the time that I was here, and I was doing audio books. I'm listening to podcasts. I am building up my mental muscle because I'm going to tell you, I don't know about you guys, but my inner roommate is loud. And that inner roommate will tell me all day and night, you can't do it. Nobody's listening. Nobody wants what you got. You ain't talked to them in a year. Why would they want to listen to you? Why are they even going to pick up the phone? Nobody's going to talk to you. And that would be loud. And so I know from this experience, I got to build up that muscle. I can't rely on just my thoughts because my thoughts are killing me. They are killing me. I also needed community because sometimes that inner roommate is still too loud, right? A good friend and coach of mine told me, it resonated when she told me that I gotta recognize that my stuff isn't safe with me. And sometimes when that inner roommate is too loud, I gotta bring in reinforcements. I gotta have people around me that says, no, get up, go work out. Nope, you're gonna sit here and do these phone calls right now. Nope, we're getting on a power hour and we're gonna go and move forward. No, you're in the gap, get in the game. You got this, let's go. Are you done with your pity party? Let's keep going. I had to have those people around me. And for some of you, you know, you may not be tapping in, but please, please, please tap in. You can also curate your community. I don't know if you guys know, I subscribe to Mel Robbins, some sort of way. She sends me text messages like every other day. And even though she's sending it to 10,000 people at the same time, somehow because it's in my DMs, I feel like she's personally sending me a message and it feels amazing. But you got to curate that community, create the environment around you that will help you. You also have to do some emotional management, period. That's another weapon, right? And that's in element 23, like real talk. Sometimes it's going to be painful. Sometimes you're going to be upset, angry, sad, joyful, whatever. You need to understand that most of those feelings, what I am learning, most of those feelings are like 90 seconds. Don't make any major life decisions over 90 seconds. Allow yourself to feel, to breathe, to get through. Stop, challenge, and choose. Recognize that your thoughts sometimes are not serving you. Are the thoughts that I'm thinking serving me? And then even more so, like, are they even my thoughts? Some of us are thinking thoughts that we heard growing up or we heard from family members, naysayers around us who we shouldn't be listening to them because their lives are no better. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go quick. Okay. So when all else fails, because sometimes the community is not going to be enough. Sometimes the mental muscle building that you're doing is not enough. Sometimes being healthy and on your game is not enough. You have to remember your why. Remember the desires of your heart and then show up and just contend. Sometimes all you have is just to show up. You don't have it in you. And that's enough. It's got to be enough because that's all you got. That's all you got. The battle never, ever, 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 ever gets easier. And that sucks. But it's real. It's never going to get easier. But you get stronger every time you show up, every time you choose to contend, every time you choose to go another round, even if it's crawling in that ring, you're better for it. You get stronger. You get more powerful. You get better at what you're doing. So I'm gonna just tell y'all, let's go, let's get it, let's contend, let's be great, people.
Can we just give a round? Did anybody feel that? Am I the only one? That's called a shift, ladies and gentlemen. I wrote a whole chapter on that. Growth equals pain. I remember when I had that shift and I was like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't out of character. I'm supposed to be feeling like this. And if I don't feel like this, it's because I don't want anything greater. This is normal. And I was like, whoa, this is how it's supposed to be? I thought it was just supposed to be easy. Nope, it's easy for people that want not much. The problem is, it's still hard. It's not going to be easy one way or the other. That's just how it is. Don, crushed it. Thank you so much, man. I loved it because that is the journey. The journey is, I told you, it's about leaning in. You are going to be walking up a hill and you are going to have to make a decision that I am not going to stop. I'm just not. People that are around me, they're going to want to go back down the hill. I think about where I live all the time. These hills are steep. And as I'm running up them, I'm thinking somebody, I have pictured in my mind that someone's running with me. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to stop before them. And there's nobody even there. It's just stupid little tricks that I play with myself. Right? But you got to do that. The same tricks I play with myself running up a hill is the same tricks we play with ourselves in this business. Let's go. DP, man, thank you for blessing us with that. Let's go out to the VA and hear from Juanita. Juanita, how are you sponsoring all these people?
Good morning. Thank you, Jamil. Yes, so thank you for asking me to speak. And I titled this Passion, Consistency, and Value, and hopefully you will get some value. And I just wanted to share with you what I've experienced over the last couple of weeks. And I just love what Dawn just shared, because this is another breakthrough or shift. And I actually was thinking that, Jamil, in terms of your book as well. But the first thing I have down is just first get super intentional. And that's what I did. And I really didn't know that I was not being intentional until the end of last month. We came back from Grow Global, Dallas, and sat down with Jamil and we looked at my map. We were closing out the end of the month. It was 4 days left and I was looking to see where I needed to be. And so we did the reverse engineer, never heard of that, you know. So what I had down, or just triple it. So it was just like, but I actually really focused. So I really focused on what 3 things, and that was the conversations, the follow-ups, and the referrals. And it was 30, 15, and 15. And I took that card and I just wrote down, so every single night. And of course I got at first, you know, it's like, oh my God, 4, and I have to do all these conversations. So by the time I get to Sunday, it's going to be, yeah, well over 200 or 300 people. So, and then the thing was, no, we're not sending messages. We're going to pick up the phone. So it was like, pick up the phone for all those, pick up the phone. And then it's, you know, or voice text or messages. So, but what I learned was that it just got me just excited again, structured, and my passion went from 0 to 360. And the confidence, it was just like, wow, I can do this. I did all of that in just 4 days and I hit my goals. So it's like, well, what happened? What will happen if I did this at the beginning of every month and set those goals and went back and, you know, looked at what tactics am I using? Because I had never done that before. So what last week I have done 7 coach explorers. I have 2 new coaches, 2 coaches that will sign up by the end of the month. And I have 3 coach explorers scheduled for next week. And as Jamil always says, it's a numbers game. So it's like, you want to get a lot of no's. So that's exactly what I've been doing. So when I started the month, I had my 100 list. I have my referral list. I have my follow-up list. Now, the one thing with the follow-up list And I thank my roommates in Dallas because follow-up was crazy. And I can admit, I still have a lot of work to do. But thanks to Linda, I think she shared this on a team night, and Cynthia, they shared their document. So now I'm actually tracking, which makes so much more sense to actually track and keep up with it, because I didn't understand it until I actually understood it. So I definitely appreciate that. And then I have the follow-up list. So every single day I am touching on everyone. It's not just on Friday doing follow-up. I'm doing it every single day. And so the other thing I did, taking something from another mastermind friend, was looking at people I already have or already playing in my sandbox, so to speak. So they already know, like, and trust. And so that's when I went back, because I remember Alex saying, you got to keep asking last week. You got to keep asking. And I said, well, I've done so many coaches first. Let me go back to those people that have already done that. Already, first thing I asked, the window was open. Girl said, yes, I'll coach. I was like, oh, wow. So the next person I asked said, yes, I'll, so it was just like, oh, I didn't think to go back. So people just kept saying yes. And then the third person, then the fourth person. And just last night when I was doing referrals, when I get off this call, someone else said, I think I do want to coach. And I'm just like, oh, wow. So yes, keep asking, because you never know when their window will be open. And the other thing was just that instead of giving a monologue, I started giving a testimony. And I started passionately sharing my story. And when you come from a pure, authentic place, you can't really say anything wrong to the right person. And I didn't go in with a script. I just spoke from the heart. And that was the difference. And honestly, my mouth's still open. It's like, wow. So yeah. And so often as coaches, we stay in a spot because we resist doing the heart and the internal work. If you didn't go Grow Global, you want to go. This was my first year, and that's where my first breakthrough happened. And I thank all of my roommates for holding a space for me to have my meltdown. But that was my first shift. And then when I talked to Jamil at the end of the month, there was another shift. So it's helping me to know that I can walk in my purpose, and I'm ready to do this. And that's all I have for you. And thank you for listening.
Come on, man. They better stop playing with us, Juanita. I do want to, first of all, Juanita, thank you so much for that. I think we all are better from listening in the last 5 or 6 minutes, aren't we? I got to give Juanita some credit because she is so smart. And sometimes business in general is hard for smart people, especially really analytical people, especially when you are in a people-oriented dominant business. We will freaking overthink things to the moon and back. And so Juanita has been on a journey of unlearning how to be that damn smart and stop asking for, well, what exactly should I say? What's the script? And what is the counter move to everyone else's move that's out there, instead of just like doing what she's doing now. And I remember when, her skills have evolved so much. She's so gifted in academia, but a lot of times that doesn't transfer over to the real world. And I remember when it was hard for her to expand her client base, and she learned how to do that. And I remember when she couldn't sponsor one dang person, let alone multiple throughout the month. And now she's learning how to do that. And her next evolution is going to be to learn how to become a badass business coach, when she's never had to do that before. It is just skills in this business, you guys. And if we don't freaking quit or get off of the hill, we can all get better in our skills. And that's why I decided last November that I'm going to keep doing this. Why? Because I love seeing people transform. And this is the transformation. I told you, going FIBC Going global, going FIBC is nothing more than your life transformation, not just your business transformation. But you have to lean in. You can't keep running away from stuff that you're afraid of. Write down on your piece of paper what you're afraid of. And I promise you, if you will make the decision every week, attack what you're afraid of. I have never been in combat, like a war. But what I hear, I have played football at somewhat of a high level. And what I will tell you is when the other team is pressing really hard, you got two things that you can do. You can fold and you can run away, or you say, I'm going to attack just as hard as they are. And what I'm telling you from studying all of these Navy SEALs, when the enemy is approaching you, they do not run away. You know what they do? They freaking attack. So if there's things that you're scared of, like picking up the phone, stop running away from this stuff. If you're afraid of asking for referrals, stop running away from it. Attack every single thing that's in front of you. Quit running away from it. That's how you get better. If you want to grow, if you want to transform, if you want to serve more, then you need to become more. And the way that you do that is everything you're afraid of, run to the roar. You guys have heard this stuff. It just hasn't set in yet. Just like Juanita had heard all that stuff. She had heard reverse engineering. You know how long I've been talking about reverse engineering? I've been talking about reverse engineering since the 80s, probably. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't even go to. But damn, it's been a long time, but she wasn't ready to hear it. Now she's ready to hear it. You got to run to it. Can you just put that down in your notes? If I want to level up, I have to run to discomfort, not try to get away from it. You got to seek this stuff out. That is what's going to make you bigger. And I'm telling you, bigger people get paid more. Why do people get paid what they get paid? That's what their value is. That's just how it is. Got to run to it. Let's talk about some overcoming some objections. I kind of want to breeze through this, but I kind of want to spend time with this, but I want to spend a lot of time with Jody as well. So anyway, you guys know all the disclaimers and stuff. So we are in week 4, as you know. Let's get to what speaker notes. And how did I mess this thing up like all of our other coaches do when they share slides? I don't even know how to get out of this. It's where you need Sabrina to come in and like save the day. Let me see. Oh, no. I see it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's run through this, lean in, maybe take some notes. So I wanted to talk a little bit about overcoming objections. Let me set this up really fast. We are awesome, but remember, everything is a skill set in this business. One of the skills that currently our whole organization is at like a 2 or 3 at is overcoming objections. We're just not really good when somebody says no. We run away like with our tails in between our legs, and we run away from the conversation. Did you guys see the post that I put up the other day when I approached a friend of mine? She gave me all the BS about being too busy and working 60 hours a week or whatever. Did you guys see that post? And did you see how fast that objection rolled off my back? I was like, okay, that's dumb. And how I overcame it. And then she was like, oh, you gave me something to think about. Let's talk about it. Did you guys see that? I posted in the group. I like sent it out to you guys saw that, right? These objections are just, these objections is God's way of wanting to see how much you really want it. And if you don't really fight for it, then it's not really going to happen. You got to become skilled at overcoming the BS. Maybe that's what we put on our notes. I need to become better skilled at overcoming other people's BS. So that's what I want us to get better with. I bet you no other trainers kind of talk like this. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about the funnel. This was going to be funny. Somebody's going to have a breakthrough with this whole funnel thing in like 6 months, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I never heard anybody talk about a funnel before. And I'm just going to sit there. I would say, you know what? You're right. We've never talked about this. But our job is to fill the funnel. Yes? How do we start with filling this funnel? If we stop filling this funnel, our business is going to dry up. The problem is when we run stop signs, we don't get immediate tickets. And that same thing happens in our business. Because we didn't fill the funnel today, our business doesn't get a ticket tomorrow. So we go today without filling the funnel, tomorrow without filling the funnel, the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And then 2 months from now, our business is crap. And then we have the nerve to get disappointed. And it's like, oh, what do you think was going to happen when you keep eating Big Macs? Of course, you're going to put on weight. What do you think is going to happen if you keep speeding? Eventually, you're going to get a speeding ticket. Same thing with filling this funnel. That's why we say we have to touch our business every single what? Day. Okay, so anyway, so we fill the funnel. We need to talk to more people. Talking to more people, there's lots of different tactics, right, on how we actually do that. We can pick up the phone, we can start conversations, we can ask for referrals, we can have people post for us, we can have people do milestone posts. That we could do a million different things to get to basically what we want to get to, which is a health assessment. And on that health assessment, they're either going to be ready or they're not going to be ready. And if they're ready, we sign them up. If they're not ready, then we overcome their objections. They're still not ready. We just move to follow-up. And then we follow up until they are ready. And then when they are ready, we try not to just get them signed up, but we should be trying to get them and like 2-3 other people signed up on that same call. Why? Because we believe in leverage in everything that we do. Definitely our finances. This is why we're building a business. How many of you guys want more time? You're never going to get more time if you don't have more leverage. That's just how it is. So anyways, this is what we do, right? So we do all that to move to health assessment. We know that it is just our professional fortitude to have multiple streams of income. You just heard Juanita talk about that. She got really clear on 3 things. I did not give her a whole month to go and do those things. I gave her like 3 days to go through those things, and she did them. And now she has an awakening like, wow, what if I do that the whole month? I wonder what would happen. Of course, what if you actually did these things the whole month? What would happen? So we have multiple streams of clients for various reasons. One is just professional. 2, if one client stream suffers, like social media algorithms, right? People are using that as an excuse. The number one way I acquire clients is by picking up the phone. That line of that revenue stream will never run out. It doesn't require technology. It doesn't require anything. It requires a list and a freaking iPhone, not an Android, an iPhone. If you have Android, you're probably not going to acquire any clients by calling people. I'm just kidding, you guys. So we have multiple streams, right? Let's talk about these objections real fast. I'm gonna fly through this because we got to get to Jody. Okay, so objections are just opportunities. Please write that down. Objections are just opportunities for what? For you to show how skillful you are. It's just an opportunity for us to see how many reps you've done, how many push-ups you've done, how much practice you've actually put in, what your mindset is like. It's just an opportunity for us to see what your growth is. Does this make sense? So how do we manage the conversation? The first thing is we can use this acronym called CLOSER. CLOSER. We already know this because it's already embedded into our health assessments and our Coach Explorer forms. But I just want to put extra little light on it as how I see it. You know, I got a very little simple mind, right? So I try to keep things really simple. Tracy, you keep yawning, man. You throwing me off. Somebody get her some coffee, please. I'm like, dang, this presentation sucks. So C is for clarify. Clarify why the person is there. So we all know the person who asks more questions and the better questions win. Okay, so we want to get extremely clear as to why we're talking to this person, but more importantly, we want this person to get extremely clear as to why they are talking to us. Most people are, write this down, delusional. That's just most people. And so that's why we should know that when they get on a call with us, they are going to be delusional. Because as soon as we ask them, why are you in the situation that you would rather not be in? They are going to tell you all these reasons, but none of those reasons are going to point to their own bad decisions. So we call those people delusional. So we have to help them get really clear that they actually have a problem because they don't think that they do. Or they know that they do, but it's not big enough for them to actually do something about it. This is what a potential client or a potential coach. Okay. So we want to ask this question: what made you get on a call? What's your goal? Why is that important to you? And how much are you spending on? What would it look like in the next 12 months from now if the ideal outcome were to be achieved? We have to get them to talk about themselves. Then we want to label their problems. So what I'm hearing is, so the missing link has been, so what I'm hearing is, you have had a lot of changes in schedules. What I'm hearing is the missing link has been you haven't had accountability. What I'm hearing is, COVID has really jacked you up. Is that right? So do this with every problem that they have. You want to repeat back to them what you feel like you just spent a lot of time gathering information on, right? So we're talking about a lot of skills here. We're talking about listening. We're talking about asking questions. These are skills that we need to get better with, right? Why? Because we're going to build a case to overcome their delusion and their objections. So overview the pain. So what I'm assuming is, hey, Don, I'm not the first person you've come to try to solve this problem, right? Like you've probably done this before in the past. But what have you done in the past? Oh, so why hasn't that worked for you? Oh, so what else have you tried? Oh, so why didn't that work for you? So all of their solutions obviously haven't worked, right? Because they're on the call with us. So what we got to do is to get them to hear that and to say that. So what you've done in the past hasn't really worked for you, right? Have you tried it on your own? Yeah. Did that work? No. Oh, okay. So what I'm hearing is all these things you've tried haven't worked, right? Right. Okay. So you need something that just works, right? Right. Okay. So cool. So we can overview all that. So when I started coaching, we used to call this dream weaving. I don't know why we changed. We changed because coaches think we need a million different things for the same simple business. That's why we changed. They think that if we need all these different definitions for all the same things and all these different tools, and we don't. So I call this sharing the dream. So there's basically 3 reasons why our clients come to us. They lack accountability, right? They always say, well, I'm just too busy, or it's hard for me to do it on my own, or they have habits that don't serve them, but they haven't figured out how to stop those habits. Isn't that why we came? That's why I came. They have poor fitness and nutrition. So you couldn't consistently eat right, the right way. You couldn't work out. You couldn't really deal with the stress. And you didn't have anyone there to hold you accountable, right? Is that what I'm hearing? Yes. Okay. So our job is to really share the vacation. We got to dream weave with them. So imagine, okay, so what I feel like I'm hearing is you want to lose about 50 pounds, right? Yes. How long has it been again? It's been about 15 years. Wow. 15 years. Can you think about all the things that's happened in those last 15 years? Yes. Okay. And it sounds like that with losing these 50 pounds, it's not really even about the weight. It's more about you being on a journey of loving yourself. Is that what I'm hearing? Yes. Okay. Do me a favor, close your eyes. Imagine a world in which 5 months from now, you are standing there on a scale, you've been back to a place you haven't seen in 15 years. Do you know how long that is? So you're standing there. What are the coolest things that pop out to you about that picture? Okay. And what else? And what else? Oh, and what else? And what are they saying? Oh, well, what are you wearing? Oh, where'd you go? How long has it been since you felt that? Wow. Okay, do me a favor. And this is where I just need for you to trust me. We are in May right now. So June, July, August, September, October. Tracy Reed, what if I told you that October this year, you would actually be living in that world, in that reality? How would that feel? Huh, that would be amazing. So you probably don't believe that that's reality for you, right? Could you just trust me? Yes. Okay. Can I explain to you how this program is going to help you solve all of those problems? Yes. Okay. Well, let's dive into it. You got to be able to sell the dream. And we don't have that skill very good yet. And I say yet because we are going to get really good with these skill sets. It's just skills, you guys. It's just skills. So explain away their concerns. What I say about this is weird and crazy people buy without obstacles. That's like me. Like I dive into stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Let's do it. That's not really most people. Most people have concerns, and our job is to figure out how to overcome them. Okay. So the 3 concerns you are going to get on the call are either price, stall, or decision maker. And you guys have all gotten these, right? Oh, I'm not sure about the price, or I'm just not sure if this is the right time. Or I got to talk to my who? Husband. Usually dudes never say, I need to talk to my wife. But almost always the woman says, I need to talk to my what? Husband. Almost always. This is a great sociology experience for me this last 11 years. So one of the things that we want to learn to do is use what we call feel, felt, found. This is a very elementary way of overcoming objections. But as we really dive into this more and more, we'll get into some more of the, I would say more advanced ways of overcoming objections. So feel, felt, found is just like, oh my gosh, I understand how you feel. Right? They say, I'm not sure if this seems a little pricey. Wow. Oh my gosh. I totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way. Can I share with you what I found? Feel, felt, found, right? I'm not sure that my spouse will want this for me. Wow. I totally understand how you feel. I have a friend who felt the same way, or I have a client who felt the same way. Can I share with you what they found? Okay. So price is just a value objection. we haven't done a very good job of showing the value of what we have. And I just got to tell you, this whole price thing comes down to you and your energy, your posture, and your confidence. If you are rock solid and you truly, 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 truly believe that the value is there, it is going to radiate out of every single freaking orifice of your body. But if you're struggling with the price, then price is always going to be a problem for you. You are always going to get that objection. Like people tell me all the time, they're like, oh, everyone asks me if this is an MLM. I never get that. You want to know why I don't get that? Because that's not an issue for me. I don't get the price thing. You want to know why? Because it's not an issue for me. It used to be, but it's not anymore. So we are going to get that in which we're looking for. So if you waver, they are going to waver. So learn to overcome price before, write that down, before we actually get to price. Learn to overcome price before we ever get to price. Have you ever asked anyone, hey, what habits do you have right now that's costing you a lot of money? Have you just ever asked them that? What habits did you have before you started this that was costing you a lot of money? What habits do you have right now that's costing you a lot of joy or peace? Have you guys ever thought to ask that? If your right hand was on the Bible and you couldn't lie, how much would you say you spend on food and beverages per week? For real. So I want to gather up all this information because I know at some point in time in this conversation, I'm going to have to talk about what? Price. I want to overcome all this stuff before I even get to it. I want them to tell me what they're spending on. If they say, oh, I'm diabetic, and I say, oh, what medications are you taking? They are going to list off 3 or 4 medications. High blood pressure medications? Oh, okay. Wow. How much is that costing you right now? I'm literally asking this. How much is it costing you in terms of dollars, but what other areas is it costing you? I'm asking this, right? Why? Because I want to hone in on the pain. Because without their pain, it's going to be very hard to bring them pleasure. Okay? So when I say have a compelling closing argument, all that means is when you offer the invitation, you need to do it as if you are a freaking defense attorney or something. Okay, so Tracy, I got to tell you, these last 15 minutes have been incredible for me learning more about what it is that you want. The main thing that I got from you is you've been wanting to solve this problem for 20 years and you haven't been able to figure it out. And it seems like that has been like a punch in the gut. Am I right? Yes. Okay. So what I know is in the next 5 months, my friend, we're not going to have this problem anymore. The only challenge is you don't know it. So what do you think you should do? Try it. That's right. Because even in the next week, you're going to know what I'm talking about, but you're never going to know unless you actually try it. So what do you say? Want to get going? That is a compelling closing argument. I have no idea what coaches are doing half the time, but that's a compelling closing argument. So when you offer the invitation to start, you want to offer it with using a lot of their pain. Does this make sense? And I have the last bullet point because really in the end, none of it matters. We're all going to die, right? So just if it doesn't work, then just follow up. Just follow up. So stall. This one's pretty easy to overcome. This one is just a decision objection. There's lots of different personality types. And one personality type is people to just stall. They just drag their feet on everything. You guys been around these folks? Like they just, holy cow, I'm like this in a lot of areas of my life. That's why I don't like to make a lot of decisions about clothes or eating and that type of stuff, because it's so hard for me. But stall to overcome this one, they're just scared to make a bad decision. And so they'll say something like, oh, it sounds good, but let me think about it. And so they're just scared to make a bad decision. So you can say, well, let me help you with this. What do you need to think about that we haven't kind of discussed? And you say, well, I'm just not sure. And from that moment, you want to ask all yes or no questions. Okay, well, let me help you with it. Do you feel like this is a solution to your problems? Do you think this would actually work for you? Do you believe me in my transformation? Are you tired of being where you are currently? Do you have the money or access to somebody who has the money? Here's my favor. I use it all the time. Well, can you trust me? I know you don't really trust you right now because you've tried this before and it failed, but can you trust me? And do you want to change? Awesome. Then let's get going. Because I promise you, you hear my boldness over right here? I promise you, in the next week, you're probably going to be sending me a letter saying thank you. That's stall. Decision maker, my spouse. So on this one, we just have to help them get to a point to where they can take ownership of their own life. And it is a little bit more difficult for women than it is for men. Don't know why, but it is. At least it seems to be this way. So, I'm not sure, I have to talk to my husband. Okay, awesome. Let's do it. Is he there? Can he jump on the call with us? So if he's a decision maker, she's a decision maker, and they're there, let's talk to them. Let's all talk to them together, because we've just spent 25 minutes going through some pretty in-depth stuff, and you're likely not going to be able to rehash exactly what we just went through, because it was pretty intense and kind of awesome. So let's talk to them together. Assume they gave you their blessing, would you move forward? Would you move forward? So if he said, yeah, is this something that you would want to do? And we're asking that question because really, is it the spouse or really is it something else? Is it just stall or is it price? So I want to get clear on what is the actual objection. Okay, so do they know everything you told me and how badly you want to change? Has this been an ongoing conversation for you guys? Have you not been where you want to be affected them as well? Does your husband love you and want the best for you? Okay, they want the best for you. Why would they object to you doing this? If you spent the money, which you're already spending, and it worked and you were really happy, would they be happy for you? Do you think they want you to be happy? Yes, so let's get going. One thing that I've said before, and I used to say a lot in the early days, is have you ever wanted to do something and they didn't want you to do it? And usually it's yes. And I say, had you ever had any resentment towards them for not being able to do it? And they say yes. And I say, in this case, if they didn't want you to do it and you didn't do it and you have resentment, how long would you want to go in your life resenting someone else for a decision you didn't make for yourself? Basically, I'm saying, when are you going to be a grown-up, right? So it's important for us to reinforce their decision too. So once they actually get going, then this is already part of our structure and our system, but obviously we want to follow up right away, send them some information. We invite them to our, social proof groups and stuff like that. And the reason why we do that, just so that you know why we do that, is because we want to reinforce their decision. A lot of people will have buyer's remorse. And so what we want to do is show them other people that have had success with this thing. Was that helpful? Overcoming some common objections? So we got to get better with that, because for one, we want to up our opportunities with more health assessments and coach explore calls, but we also want to up our ratios from, if I'm doing these calls, right, my ratios are getting tighter. If I'm doing, let's just say 10 health assessments, but only one person signing up, it's because my skills aren't good enough. Okay. I want it to go from 10 to 1 to 10 to 2 to 10 to 3 to 10 to 4 to 10 to 5 to 10 to 6 to 10 to 7 to 10 to 8 to 10 to 9 to 10 to 10. For 10 health assessments I do, freaking 10 people get started that day. And in order for that to happen, I have to increase my what? Skill set. Same thing with Coach Explore calls, okay? But right now, none of us, my ratio for health assessments, probably for every 10 I do, probably 7 get going. So I still got a lot of work to do as well, right? And sometimes people just aren't ready. And that's why we need to follow up. So if you guys stick around for a little bit, I do want to invite Jody on to really just run through her business. You guys kind of like it sometimes when we do that, right? It's kind of like the real world scenarios. Yeah, I just got a lot of voices going through my head right now. All right, Jody, well, come on off and talk to us, my friend.
All right, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to do something pretty fun. We're going to spotlight Jody.
Oh.
And we are going to add me in there. So now it's just you and me. So
Okay.
why we're doing this, you guys, it's just you and me, Jody. The other 46 people aren't here. Why we are doing this is the other day, Jody is in the accountability group that I have the pleasure of leading, I suppose. And she is very active in the group, which I really appreciate. And so she was sending her kind of like daily actions or whatnot. And she was saying basically that she was starting a lot of conversations. And then I asked, well, basically how many conversations I think have you started and how many health assessments, right? Because when we start conversation, let me just tell you what it is that we do. So daily, we put information out there, don't we? Don't we post? How many of you guys are posting? You're posting every day, right? Do you know why you post? Put it in the chat. Do you guys know why do you post? Okay, so we got interactions, to connect, to generate value, bring value, to brand, for engagement, to add value. Yeah, so we post to show people out there how we can solve their potential problems. Okay, so whatever your brand is, you're posting that. Most of my posts follow a certain rhythm. One is I'm showing lifestyle and I'm showing freedom. 2, I'm showing success. 3, I'm showing community. And then from where I'm at in my brand now, I might show some sort of like health post, but probably not that much because I'm not really focused on acquiring a lot of clients right now, right? But back in the day, that was definitely part of my brand. Now, the reason why you do that and you put stuff out there is for, write this down, eyeballs. Eyeballs. This is the only reason why we post. Who can I influence and who's my audience? And those eyeballs need to go down on a list. Okay? Every company has a list. I promise you. That's why these tech companies are worth billions, because they have all of your what? Information. They got massive lists. You need to have what? Massive lists. One of the reasons why we put stuff out there is because it allows us to gather eyeballs easier. If I put a post out there, I put a story, and I put a story and 300 people are watching it, that's 300 eyeballs that I need to have down on what? A list. That's all the reason why we post, you guys. Now, once I have this list, I need to go to that list. I need to now influence that list. And if I'm not influencing that list by starting conversations or picking up the phone with these people, I have wasted this list. This list is worth millions, literally. And if I'm not daily going to them and influencing them, there's no point of doing any of this crap. Because then we're just posting and hoping. I'm going to post and I'm going to hope. And if we post it and we hope, we're leaving the power in other people's hands. First of all, if we post and hope, then we're not going to be very successful. Why? Because our patient type, our client type, is people that don't make great decisions. And if you think that people that don't make great decisions are just going to run to you and say, please help me change my life, you don't understand who our client base is. Our client base is not that. It's not that. So what do you think you're going to need to do to people who historically make poor choices? You're going to have to go to them a lot. So this is why we post, because it makes it easier for us to see who's watching us, and then we can directly go influence them. Now, outside of that, our list should be massive anyway, because you guys know or have known or have some sort of relationship with literally hundreds, if not thousands of people. Does this make sense a little bit? So when Jody is telling me that basically she has started 70 conversations, and I think that led to maybe like 3 health assessments, Jody?
Yeah.
Something like that. I said, well, first of all, Jody's freaking awesome for starting 70 conversations, but there's no, all that does is it tells me is we just have to help her with her skill set with turning conversations into health assessments, right? Every area of this business is just a skill set, and you want to understand what your ratios are. So if I'm starting 70 conversations and getting 3 health assessments, that's awesome because it gives me a baseline. Now I just want to improve on that baseline. I want to start like 70 conversations, but have like 20 health assessments. I want to start 70 conversations, but have like 50 health assessments. Think about this. I want to start 70 conversations, but have 140 health assessments. Why? Because every conversation should move to 1 to 2 things, okay? A client or a referral. So if I'm starting 70 conversations, my expectation is that these folks are going to refer me to somebody who turns into a health assessment. And if they're not referring me, it's probably because I'm not what? Asking. Does this make sense? So if I'm starting a conversation and it's not going anywhere, at some point in time, I need to say, hey, this is who I am. This is my story. This is what I'm passionate about. Will you help me? Or something like that. This makes sense? Okay. So every conversation should go somewhere. Either you're going to sign up as a client or a coach, or you're going to be a friend of mine and be a referral advocate and lead me to somebody who I'm going to do a health assessment with. And if you're not doing that, I need to be very clear with you as to what I'm seeking over and over and over and over and over and over again. That makes sense? Okay, so with that being said, Jody, how are you?
I'm a little nervous, but I'm okay.
Okay, cool. So I think you have queued up some conversations for us to look at.
Yes.
You want to share your screen and
Sure.
let's see if we can dive into them.
Screen 2. Okay, can you see?
I can.
Okay. So, so this first conference, so I just have a list of names and I can type in the people. I figured you could see it better, okay, like this.
Okay.
So you may just tell you like how do you want me to do this? Just tell
Yeah,
you who.
that's cool. So yeah, just tell me like who Melissa is and then and then we can read through this.
Okay. So Melissa is a fellow homeschool mom that I met last summer at a training event. And so I friended her on Facebook. And then this was me just connecting with her. And so this goes back to, I pulled a few older conversations that have gone on, and then I've got some newer ones too. So
Love
this
it.
is just me, saying hi. We have some mutual friends. And you can see the time, like, I go another month here.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
What do you want from Melissa?
I think this is where I'm struggling. I feel like you Jedi mind tricked me already, by the way. Just going through my own conversations. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not even asking things in a lot of these that go directly to coaching. And by the way, if y'all are Friends fans and Rachel, and when she goes in and talks to her boss and she's like crying and she says, it's not of sadness or anger, but that I'm just having this conversation with you. So I'm just telling you that about myself. If I cry, just move on. It's okay. But I think that's the big part where I'm struggling is I want to be friends with people and I want to build relationships. But I also want to help people. So I'm having trouble bridging that.
Is it possible to do both?
I know it is. I know it's possible.
Love it. Okay, so it's possible to do both. It's possible to build relationships, to be friends, but it's also possible to either help them or have them help you. Right? So what do you want from her?
I want her to tell me if she knows anybody that needs help.
Awesome. Okay.
And build relationship with her.
Okay, so tell me again, you want her to what? Tell me if she knows anyone who needs help?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna write that down. I want her to, okay, so write this down too, because you want to be thinking about this with all these people, right? I want her to tell me if she knows anyone who needs help. Awesome. Okay. So now we kind of know what we want. We want to build a relationship, and we also want Melissa to tell me if she knows anyone that needs help. So, okay, so we start this conversation, and you're in the purple or white?
I'm in the purple.
Okay, perfect. So I was hoping you would remember, blah, blah, blah. Good to see you. It was so good. Are you ready for school year? Okay, with my son. So this is great. All right. So I love how, okay, so scroll down. Okay, how fun, beautiful day it is. Hey, Melissa, happy birthday. Awesome. Keep going down. Okay, what did you send her there?
I asked her if she knew anybody that needed help.
Look at you. Okay, and how did you say it?
I mean, do you want me to just tell you what I said or play it?
Yeah, play it.
Hey, just wanted to say thanks for your support on my post. I am just looking to help other people get out of the same place that I was in. So if you know anybody who's looking for help, please let me know. I'd love to be able to help them and support them, and just make a difference in their lives. So let me know, or feel free to pass my name along to somebody else. Okay, thanks. Have a good weekend.
Love it. Now, does she already know what you do?
Yes, because I think this video was in response to one of my posts about coaching or helping people, getting healthy. But I don't think I've had a direct conversation with her about coaching and what I do, if that makes sense.
Dude, this is giving me life right now, Jody. Okay. So what I would have done is, it's none of what I'm about to say is right or wrong. It's just skill sets, right? By the way, what you're already doing puts you in like the top freaking 3% of coaches. Most people wouldn't even do this, by the way, right? Like even sending that video, they would have talked themselves out of doing that. So, so you want to get in the habit of talking to these people. Okay, so like, I would have probably sent her a message and said like, dude, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for always being present on my posts, for championing me. I gotta apologize. I'm just realizing after all these conversations, I haven't actually told you what I do and how I help people change lives. What's your phone number? Can we connect over the next week or so? And I want to tell you more about what it is that I do. And then a ton of people and you're so gracious, man, it'd be awesome if you could connect me with those people. Here's my number. What's yours? I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to freaking call her or invite her out to coffee, but I need to talk to this person. Okay. And so that's good. So, okay. So scroll down and remember.
And that's
like
it. But she hadn't responded.
Okay. And when did you send that?
March 31st. Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, this is so good, Jody. Okay. So now all it is the same thing. You're going to be friends. Move this. Does she live near you?
Not really close. I mean, she's in the like St. Louis area, but we're not in the same community or anything.
How far away is she?
Maybe 30 miles, maybe. I mean, within.
Yeah, so you guys are close. Why don't you schedule a time to hang out with her? We got to, okay, so let me say this. Last week I was talking about moving people like pawns on a chessboard. We have to move our relationships too, right? So like if I like her, if I like her, I'm probably going to want to hang out with her. Like let's hang, barbecue, whatever. But that's building a relationship, right? Like these conversations are cool, but I want to take this thing to the next level. But I definitely want to talk to her. So now it's just follow up. So just build a relationship and bring value to her. But you are clear on what it is that you want from her. And I'm so proud of you for asking, literally asking. If you want something, ask for it, you guys. People are tiptoeing around this stuff so much. Stop tiptoeing and figure out what you want and then go be bold and ask for it. Okay, let's go to the next conversation.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so this is a classmate of mine. We graduated high school together. And some of that conversation goes way back before I was even a health coach.
Sure.
So this is probably the first one. So I sent him a voice message, which just said, I think I was just admiring him on who he is and what he does. He's an educator, he's a writer, he's a speaker, and we come from a small town. So I was just complimenting him on, being a awesome person. And I believe I mentioned, oh, I told him he'd be a good health coach. I just voice messaged him and told him he'd be a good health coach and I wanted to work with him. So that's the voice message. The video message is me inviting him to March Madness.
Mhm.
And then, so that's that. And he didn't ever respond to those. So this is where the conversation kind of gets in, where he actually is talking back to me. He was auditioning for a TED Talk here in St. Louis. And so I was asking him about that. And so that's where he's telling me about the audition. So I'm just engaging with him since he didn't respond to me, just straight up asking him about talking to me about coaching.
Mhm.
I was just showing some interest in him, and following up on his audition.
Yeah.
And then so this voice message is in response to this here from him. His confidence in his delivery. I mean, I love this guy. He reminds me of you, Jamil, because he's like, if I don't get it, it's not because I didn't do it well. It's because I wasn't what they were looking for.
Mhm.
So I responded in a voice message just saying, I loved your confidence. And
I think I understand. So scroll down,
yeah, okay.
scroll down.
So then I sent him a birthday message.
Got it. Talking about goals, few people, so on point, love. Okay, and then this video is what?
I think me asking him, do you want me to play it? Or
Sure.
just, okay, because I can't remember.
Hey Roosevelt, happy Saturday. Hope you're having a good day. I wanted to follow up with you and see if you wanted to put a few minutes on the calendar, maybe this week or next week, and just connect. I want to hear everything that's going on with you. I'd love to catch up. And since we don't do reunions, right, we need to like reach out individually and talk to each of our classmates. So would love to chat with you, get on Zoom or something and catch up. So let me know. I'm available pretty well all week. So let me know.
Perfect. Wouldn't change a dang thing. Awesome.
Okay.
Future IPD. Good. All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
So what's going to make you different is you're just going to keep doing that until, and I paused on until for a reason. You're just going to keep doing that until.
Okay.
With him. And I'm
I'm
telling
good.
you, in 2032, he's going to be on your team and he's going to be like, holy cow, look at all these messages Jody sent me.
Okay, why are people not coming up? Sorry, I don't know why it's not coming up. Okay, we'll try a different name.
It looks like there is a, maybe you're
Here, you know what? I see one. I'll say I know I talked to. Oh, there we go. Is it going? I don't know.
So good. Do you see any that are right there?
Yeah, I'm trying to click on, but they're
Oh,
not coming up. So it may just be my internet. Let me share.
Yeah, unshare your screen and then reload the page.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Trying to eat.
Okay. Okay. This one's going to be kind of similar in that we used to go to church together. So this is just me touching base about
Sure.
kids.
What do you want from Lynette?
So I know, I mean, from what I remember of Lynette, I'm pretty sure she could use program herself.
Mhm.
And so I want to see if I can help her. And I know she,
What's your relationship with her?
so we used to go to church together, but she no longer goes to my church. And so we weren't close. We were just kind of acquaintances. And now we just touch base because we have a kid that's the same age. But she's still in my area.
Love it. Okay, so she's not like, oh, she's a super homie, and she's not like, I don't really know her, but you
Right.
guys have a good enough relationship to where you're cool with each other. Got it.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking, that's good. She's still playing volleyball. So because you are acquaintances and you guys have a relationship, right? And so you could do all of this to get to what you want to actually get to, or you could, the first message you sent her could just say, Lynette, I miss you. I think you're awesome. I'm doing something that's really helped me change my life. I think it'd be really good for you. Are you open to chatting about it? Here's my number. Give me yours. Is that
So
pretty much what that video is there?
it's kind of the same. I was going through contacts. You can see I'm wearing the same clothes in the same spot. So I'm
Yeah.
like saying, hey, do you know anybody? Can I help?
Mhm,
And that's where she said, I'll keep that in mind. Like, cause she's encouraging me.
mhm.
But she's not responding that she's interested at this point.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think of somebody on my list here.
I think, stop sharing your screen. I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
stop it.
Okay.
The only thing, so first of all, you guys give Jody a round of applause. Here's what my advice would be. I think, um, I think you got to get to what it is that you want to get to. Sooner.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I'm cool with, we got to do something. I gotta move it to something. Either we're going to talk, right? And I'm gonna tell you my story, and you're gonna be a referral advocate. Or if for me to have you on my heart list, I probably know you a little bit, right? And if I don't know you, but I just see you and you're on my heart list, then I'll build a relationship. But if you're on my heart list, I'm literally just going to go to you and be like, Jody, I know we're not super close, but girl, I got to tell you what's happened to me. And I think it would really be good for you. For some reason, your name just keeps being hard pressed on my mind. And I think it would be so good to talk about it, you know? Are you open to having a conversation? If so, I mean, I'm a good person. Let's talk, because I think it would really, really be good for you. And so I'm just gonna go straight to a health assessment. And if I want them to be a referral advocate, then it's gonna be that. Like, I want to get on the phone and let's connect. What you did in that video, that was so good. That's why there was nothing to change about that. You're just gonna have to do that a lot more with him, or move the relationship further. So right now, you guys are just chatting back and forth or whatever. He's sometimes responsive, sometimes not. Move it to the next step. So if you guys are local, then I definitely want to hang out, right? I want to start planning stuff to invite him to, his family to. I want to start planning things. I might even ask him, because he's so dope, I might even ask him to do an interview for me. Like, hey, I'm into inspiring people. Like, is it cool if I actually interview you on my social media? I do that for sometimes for people who I find really interesting and inspiring. I need to move that to the next step and just get out of just messaging. I do this all the time, to where I'm like, I will literally create stuff, Jody, to invite people to who I want to move my relationship to. I might hit you up and I'll be like, hey, what are you doing 3 Saturdays from now? You're like, I'm not doing anything. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, come on over. We're having a huge, like, we're going to barbecue, pool party, bring the kids. I didn't have that plan. right? Like I planned it because you said that you were free 3 weeks from now, and I wanna move my relationship further. Or I might just invite myself over and be like, hey, you guys are super cool. I would love for our spouses to like really get to know each other. We should totally do dinner. And so I'll move it the next step. Or I'll be like, I do this all the time. I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna be in your area like next Thursday. Let me know if you're around. Be really fun to catch up and grab coffee. I do that all the time. When I'm in an area, I do not waste my time in an area. I'm usually meeting with 4, 5, 6 people for sure. So I would move the relationship further. And that's why it's so important to be so tactical, you guys. Every name, I told you, every name has to have a tactic next to it. That's why we use our map. So with my clients, I have to be ready for the next move. It is literally like playing chess. So these names on our 100s list, I got to be thinking about what's my next move for them. So it's not going so well right now, right? But what is my next move? What can I do to move this thing a step closer, right? And maybe it's sending him a book. Maybe it's something like, so he's so inspiring, he's going to do a TED Talk. Awesome. What if I sent this dude a book? Like, hey, what's your address? I want to send you a book of, let's just say, my mentor. He wrote a really cool book. I think you would really get a lot of value from it. Now I'm bringing value to this person. And so I can move this relationship further. What coaches do, I'm not talking about I mean, A to Z and all this crap is fine, but we got to learn how to be better, like how to how to move steps, right? So I think, here's what I think about you. As long as you're doing the work, you're going to be highly successful. And as long as we stay coachable, we're going to be doubly successful. So the fact that you're starting these conversations are so good. Just move to what it is that you want sooner. And I think people are so scared about what we want, you know? And so I would just encourage you not to be. Let me show you a conversation real fast and how fast these things can happen. And I show this one quite a bit because I want to show you guys how you can build relationships really fast without knowing a person and without spending freaking months building a relationship. When So let me see here. Let me share my screen with you guys. And maybe this will bring you value. So I always, wait, what screen can you see? Can you see my messenger? I don't know what you
Yeah.
can see. Let me see here. I know you guys are like, man, when are we going to get off of this thing? You guys can jump off whenever you want, actually. I am. So you guys know Kevin Wayne, who is a little MIA right now, but he's coming back. That's what coaches do a lot of times, right? They go away, then they come back. So I use this one as an example because it shows quite a bit. I don't know if I can make this bigger. I don't know how much you guys can see this. But anyways, like, you know, we have rules in this business for a reason. We add friends every day and we're supposed to connect with those people, right? Connect with people on our list. So Kevin, I did not know. And so we added each other and I sent him a message saying, thanks for the ad. How do you know Megan Moses? He said through Facebook. I want to show you just small differences, you guys, what is going to separate you from other people out there in the world. This conversation is happening when? Can you guys see when this conversation is happening? When you learn to be disciplined and go after what you want, there's none of these dumb rules. You know what I mean? There's a lot of dumb rules that we have in our society. Don't ask people how old they are. Why not? That's dumb. Who says? Who says, oh, you know what? I'm a teacher, and so I have Christmas break, so I'm not going to do crap for the next 3 weeks. Why? Who says? There's a lot of rules that are out there that make no sense that we follow just because we follow them. So you can see I'm starting this conversation on freaking Christmas Eve before 9 in the morning. Why? Because it's just what we do. It's just what we do. So anyway, I told him, nice, I see you're into health and wellness, or you're a personal trainer. How would I know that? Because I went and I studied his page, right? Be more interested than you are trying to be more interesting. And so he says, no, I'm just a skinny guy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, love it. That a boy, find something that inspires you, give it away to the world. He says, thanks, 2018 is about getting the word out to people to use the app and gym partners and trainers. Do you train? Watch how I just drip. I'm going to be dripping stuff in this whole conversation that he did not ask for. Okay. And I said, I'm not much of a trainer, mostly yoga. I used to when I played football in college. And after I graduated, since losing 30 pounds in 6 weeks on a program I coached for, did he ask for any of that? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because I'm trying to see if he's thirsty. Why did I do that? Right? So that's just from being in the gym for a little bit and following our program. He says, wow, really impressive. I've been thinking of trying yoga because I sometimes feel, what program is it? And so I told him, and I moved off it. Now there's some debate with this one. Should we say the program? Should we not? I think when you've branded yourself for long enough, it doesn't really matter. Probably as a new coach is not something that you really want to do, right? So I told him, you know, looking over your profile, you probably love being a certified Optavia coach. This is where a skill set comes in. When I looked over his program, it was extremely apparent to me he cared about titles and degrees. I don't, right? But I could tell that he did. So that's why I said certified Optavia coach, because I know he likes to rack up titles. That's important for him, master's degrees, all that stuff, right? It doesn't matter to me, but I want to speak his language. And so I knew that it was in social work, so you can combine everything, right? But look how fast I offered him coaching. I just met this dude a couple hours ago. Do you see how fast that happened? Coaches would talk to Kevin for literally 3 years and probably would never even do what I did in a couple hours. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, I just dripped a little bit, right? You know, hey, you be good at it. It looks like it's along the lines. This is what I made my first couple months, you know, this is what I'm making now. Not sure if it's a good fit for all you, but maybe it'd be good to have a conversation about it, right? He said that might be interesting. What do I start doing? I start layering him. Layer, 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 layer. We talked about dripping seeds, planting seeds. We talked about dripping. We talked about layering, right? All I'm going to do now is just layer the heck out of this dude. How long, Jamil? Until he freaking sees the light. It could take a couple minutes, it could take a couple days, it could take a couple years. So anyways, he says, I'm going to look into it. Watch how I try to move the relationship. Love it. What's your schedule look like next week? Let's link up. I can explain more. It'd be good to just network and be around guys who are doing positive things. You see that? You see that? You see how I'm moving the relationship? I don't want to just be chatting all the time. I want something from him now. Do I want to be friends? Yeah, but I want more than that too. So he says, I live in Sacramento, but I'll be moving down there next month. I'd love to link up when I move. I said, oh, I thought you were in the Inland Empire, because that's what his social media said. Well, let's skip the coffee date then, right? So we move on, and now he says, I moved out there, I said, how did you like it? You know, I've only been there once. He's telling me, watch how interested I am. Why'd you move? And Jody, you're actually good at being really interested as well in your conversations, right? You got great questions. He says, blah, blah, blah. I was underpaid. Now I'm working for the state. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Very cool. What were they paying you before and what are they paying you now? That's a conversations that coaches will not ask because they think there's these dumb rules. When there's no rules, there's no rules. The only rules are the ones that you create in your head. Okay, so he says, he told me. Why did he tell me? Because I freaking asked. He told me. So I was making about $4,000 a month, but my salary just went up to 62. I said, that a boy, thanks. He says, looked into Optavia, awesome. What you enjoy about it, that's a skill, not what did you think, but what did you enjoy? That's a skill set. Why? I want him to only tell me positive things. Okay, so we go through. Again, hey, you around today at 1 o'clock? If not, let's set something up. You see how I keep going back to it, Jody? I told you you're going to have to keep doing that with that one guy, right? Because now it's been basically 20 days later, right? So, all right. So I'm layering him. Finally, he gives me his number, right? And that's on the 15th. So I'm layering him, I'm inviting him all sorts of stuff. We finally do a Coach Explore call. He wasn't ready because he didn't have the money. Now, I want to tell you guys something. Somebody who's earning $6,200 a month, that is good money. So why is someone broke who's earning $6,200 a month? Because they have a problem. Can we solve this problem? Answer, yes. Okay, I want you guys to start thinking how you can help more people. Okay, so he got on our call, whatever. Now we moved to February 3rd. So he says, I'm interested. Let's do it. Let's order it. I'm saying, let's order your business kit. Watch this. I want to, but like you talked about people living paycheck to paycheck, that's me currently. How? You got master's degrees. You're smart as hell. You earn $6,200 a month, and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Why? This is the everyday American, you guys. Okay, all these degrees, smart as hell, graduate top of their class, all this stuff, paycheck to paycheck. This is where you come in and you bring solutions, but they're not just going to come to you and say, hey, I'm broke. I promise you they will not do that. What are you going to have to do? Go to them and look for ways that you can actually help them. Does this make sense a little bit? So that's how you move conversations, right? We want to move it to a health assessment, a Coach Explore call, or they need to refer somebody. And I also want to be friends with you. That makes sense? Well, since we've been, Jody, everyone give Jody a round of applause, please. Since we have been on basically this long, I really feel like, why don't we, I'll stay on. You guys can hop off if you want, but if anyone has like specific questions, then I'll stay on and answer them because we just went through a lot, which was kind of cool, but. So Jody, thank you so much. Hopefully that was helpful. And I'll stay on for like another 10 minutes and answer any questions if anyone has them. Just raise your hand on the screen. All right. Kenny. Kenny or John?
Good morning. So Janelle, I have a burning question because one of our action is to pick up the phone while doing our conversations as much as possible, right? So I'm constantly getting voicemail. I haven't had one yet that when I call them, that they actually pick up the phone. So I would text them, and then we had that conversation not to text, to call. So when we call, do we leave them a voice message? Or is it just me getting voice messages voicemails from people?
I mean, it's pretty much all of us. If someone calls me, I'm probably not picking up.
Exactly.
But that's just
You
me.
don't pick up when I call you. You're right.
I mean, so what I feel like I'm hearing is the actual question is, when I do call and I get a voicemail, should I leave a voice message? I would.
Not a voice text, or not like a text, because most people are not checking their voice messages now. Is it easy? I mean, I don't know. I guess there's no right or wrong, but when I shared that one thing with you, you said like, well, call them. So I called him back after you said, and I left a voice message this time, and he said, oh, I'll call you later. He texted me saying he'll call me later, but I knew he wasn't going to.
Yeah, you guys don't get in the weeds about all that stuff. Just keep doing it, right? We have them on the list. I'm going to circle back with him or her at some point, move the relationship forward. No big deal.
So then if the majority is not picking up their phone, then why don't we save that extra step and just go directly with a voice text or a voice message to connect with them?
You can do, so what I was showing Jody right now is basically, so with that guy, it was a little bit different because you have done a health assessment, it sounded like, with him, right? There's a relationship that's there, you've already talked on the phone and stuff. A lot of times when it's just kind of making connections, spreading the word, getting the word out, that is like how you see me do a messenger, be like, hey man, let's connect, when you have a few minutes this week. And then that's almost like you could schedule a time to talk or whatever. And then those are all the protocols that are easy, all right, cool. Got you in the calendar. Give me your email. I'm going to invite you to this thing. And then before you get on with them, it's like, hey, Sally, so excited to connect with you, in an hour or so. Let me know if you need to reschedule, whatever. So those are easy. With him, with your guy, he basically, sent you a message saying, I've been advised kind of not to do this and to look in another area to solve my problem. And I said that I would have called him because I already have a relationship with him. Could I schedule that call with him? Maybe, but he's kind of running, and I don't know how likely he is going to be open for me to say, hey, let's get on and chat about it. What's your schedule look like later on today or tomorrow? And let me just help you run through some options that might be, either really good for you or just some things to think about. Could you do it that way? Of course. Could you pick up the phone and just call them? Of course. So whatever, that's where you use your discernment based off of what you know about that individual. But I would keep calling them though, or keep attempting to, or keep inviting them to things. Here's the key. Whatever you do, don't stop. Like, keep doing it until I saw another hand that was raised, but then they left. It was somebody. Oh, it was Don, but I think she had to go maybe. Okay. Let's go to Kyra. Kyra, am I saying your name right?
Yes, you are.
All right. Hi, Kyra.
Hello. Thank you so much for all of the training. I'm just loving and gleaning everything. My question is actually on this Super Saturday. Can you explain what that is and what you do and how to do one? I want to create a community in my town. And it sounds like this is what I want to do, but it just sounds like so much fun and I want to be a part. Can you explain that?
Yeah, sure. So a Super Saturday is just a gathering that we have here at the house. And it's to build community, to eat good food, to show that you can, get healthy by eating good food, and to overview our program, especially for new people that's there. And we also do a little bit of coach training. So the way that we have it set up is we go from 11 a.m. to, I believe, 2 p.m., but I don't really know. And the first half an hour is just kind of like mingling, people getting to know each other. There's some hors d'oeuvres and some finger foods that are out. And then we'll kick things off with basically giving an overview of Optavia. Usually there's going to be some transformational stories, probably 2 to 3 stories of people that's, had some sort of transformation. Um, give an overview of our 4 components. And then we'll do a few minutes of health coach training. Don't have to. When I was a new coach, we didn't do that necessarily, but every single week I did do a gathering at my house to where I invited people. We cook like lean and greens, and I gave an overview of our program for people that wanted to get involved, or if they knew people that, now that they've heard what we do, if they knew people that wanted to get involved. And it was all about building community. So we did that every day or every Wednesday for probably like the first 3 years or something like that. It was a long time. So that's kind of what it is. Now it's just expanded, but it has the same format basically.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Well, I don't see any other hands. Don Purnell, did you have a question?
I answered it myself.
Okay,
I
perfect.
thought, what would Jamil tell me? And let it go.
Very cool. All right. Well, hopefully today's been fruitful for you. I want to commission you. When I left, my son Cruz goes to this Christian school. And for the first time yesterday, actually, I dropped him off and I was leaving, and the sign said, "You're now entering the missionary field." How powerful is that? So my sign to you is, now that we've done this, you are now entering the missionary field. And again, our job is to answer the call, is to do the knocking, to do the asking, to do the inviting, but to get better at it. And the only way we get better at it is we got to do it more and then ask for corrections, right? Ask for some coaching. But we will always overcome. We will always reach a high level of success if we just do what we're supposed to do more than the next person. And these days, that's not very hard to do because people are people, man. I think this technology age is really making it easy, honestly, to be in the top 1%, because most people just they're out there. So that gives us the opportunity to quickly rise to the top, because the competition is just, it's so minimum these days. So you just got to stay on the hill longer than other people. And that's not hard to do these days. So I commission you. We're now entering the missionary field. All right. Have a great weekend. Let's do the work. See you on Monday.